This is an overall video review of the T-Mobile HTC HD7, and this is the US version here. And first I'll review the general hardware of the device. So right now I bought this case from T-Mobile, and it's just a little rubber case. It's smooth to the touch so it won't stick in your pocket, and it covers the buttons so that you have a little rubber cover over the buttons here for volume rocker and camera button, and that actually makes the buttons easier to press. People often complain about how mushy and tough the buttons are to press, especially the camera one, but cases like this make it easier to press them. So I actually do recommend this case or another case. It still works with the kickstand, and so you can still use the kickstand like normal, and it barely adds any thickness to the device, so it's a really solid case. But if you take the case off the device, then this is what the phone looks like. It's a very snug fitting case. Here's the phone without the case. So very sleek, nice finish to the back. It is just a little plastic cover, but it looks really nice. And you got the power button on the top. You have your volume rocker on the side here. And then you have the camera button right here. And this is one of the half hold to focus and then click all the way down to take a picture. So half hold and click. And then you have your usual back button, your Windows button, and your search button here. And those are all the buttons on the phone. You have a mini USB, or micro USB, excuse me, and a 3.5mm headphone jack at the bottom of the phone. And there's also the microphone there. At the top, this is the earpiece for when you're having a phone call. And it's actually, some reviews have this wrong, and they say that up there and down here are front stereo speakers. That is incorrect. It does not have any front stereo speakers. The only speaker is on the back of the device here. It's that little thing right there. That's the speaker. It's completely incorrect to say that these are speakers, and it's been proven on XDA developers that it isn't. Someone actually took apart his phone and proved that there's no speaker down there. And that one's just a speaker for when you're talking on the phone. And on the back it also does have the dual LED flash right there, and a 5-megapixel camera, and then the speaker there. And the camera's pretty decent at taking pictures. They look pretty good. But the camcorder, when it records at 720p, is actually really good, and you can watch one of my videos where I uploaded a sample of the 720p video recording, and it's really good except when it's in low light conditions. Like if you're indoors at nighttime and the indoor lights are on, video recording will be really bad just because it can't keep up with frame rate when it's in low light. Okay, so that's the hardware of the T-Mobile HTC HD7. Now I'll go over some of the negatives that I've found of Windows Phone 7 on the HTC HD7. First of all, there's no visual voicemail in Windows Mobile. So if you want to go to your voicemail, you have to click the little icon down there to dial your voicemail. So that's kind of a pain. Your new voicemails will show up as an notification here on the home screen with a live tile, but there's no visual voicemail. And there's problems with third-party applications that can't resume well. Like, for example, if you go into this steak cooker application, and it tells you how to cook your steak if you want it rare, 1.5 inch. You start it, and it starts a little timer right there. And so you got the timer going, but then say you get a new text message or something and you're taken away from your phone. Right now it's at 11:48. You go to the home screen and you respond to your text message, and then you have to go back to the application to see how much longer you have. But it takes you right back to the start screen. And even using the back button, which normally would bring you right back to the application where it was, doesn't work because that application isn't designed to resume. There are other applications like this stopwatch here, which will keep on running. Like 2 seconds there, you go back, do something here, click the back button, and it's at 7 seconds. So that's just dependent on the developer building in that functionality. Another problem is some developers haven't made it so that when you turn off the screen, the application keeps on running with the screen off, like Fandango here. If I go into Fandango and I'm looking at that movie Skyline, and then I turn off the screen, or the screen goes inactive after a minute or whatever it's set to, and then I turn it back on and open it, it has to resume and re-download the page that you're on. That really kills the experience. Of course there's no copy and paste in Windows Phone 7 yet. That will be addressed in, when is it? Early 2011, so that will be addressed, but right now you can just share a page. Like if you want to share a YouTube link, you can share it via text message or email. So it kind of works, but it's not the best if you want to copy in a link and paste it into a form that you're responding to. Also, smart links. So Windows Phone, of course, has the feature where if you have an address and you want to click on the address to map it, and this is like not a web address, this is a house address, you can just click on the address instead of copy pasting it into Bing Maps and it'll load it. But if you have an address like this without a zip code after it, then you can't click on it and map it. It has to have the zip code after it for it to recognize as an address. Even if it just has the city after it, it won't recognize it as an address. So that absolutely makes it useless, because there will be plenty of times where people don't put the zip code after it. And of course there's no multitasking, so if you go into something like Slacker Radio and then you exit out of it, it'll stop playing your music. And occasionally the Windows Phone Marketplace, where you download apps and music, will occasionally crash. So to get it back working, you have to restart the device completely. That's kind of a pain. Hopefully they'll address that in a future update. Oh, and speaking of the Marketplace, the games in the Marketplace are huge in size. Like, literally huge. Some of them are over 20 megabytes for just simple little games. Like this recent game that was released, if I can find it. I think it might be. Yeah, this one. Civil Disobedience here. I mean, these are the graphics in the game. Really basic graphics. But if you look at the size of it, it's actually 24 megabytes large. It's enormous. There's also no universal inbox for email, so you're stuck with keeping all your emails separate and keeping those separate. Doesn't unify them, and there's no threading in your emails, so you have each individual email separated. You also can't directly search the server in your email. Like, you can search what you have downloaded, but if you want to see more results, you can't search the entire server for older stuff. Oh, speaking of the Facebook integration in Windows Phone, it has really great Facebook integration here in your People's Hub. But say you want to view pictures of one of your friends. You can't do it from the People's Hub here, even though you think, okay, Facebook is all pulled in. I want to go view his pictures, but you can't. You can only view his news feed. To view his pictures, you have to jump into the actual Facebook application. So that's disappointing. Your calendars can only support syncing one calendar from each account. So if you have multiple calendars on one account, like you have a holidays calendar, your work calendar, your personal calendar, it can only synchronize one of those into your phone for each email account that you have. So that could be a killer for some people. Oh, you can't search for programs with your voice, or just by typing something. If you search, it'll bring you to Bing. So if you have a long list of programs, that could get annoying finding things. Even though you can search by Start Metro Stopwatch, and that'll work. So the functionality is there, they just need to implement it through text search. So some people say the animations are like really slow on this device. It'll take you time to do things, but it's actually not that bad. Like, if you want to jump back twice, you can just double tap and then it'll take you to what you were there before, and it'll skip the home screen. So it's actually really fluid, and you can go through stuff quickly. If you're here and then you want to jump back, just double tap and it'll take you there. So it's actually really fluid and pretty fast. The animations don't really get in the way. The camera looks really terrible at nighttime when you're recording stuff. I uploaded a video of a nighttime recording demo, and you can view it. The frame rate is 10 frames per second at 720p, so it's really terrible. The speakers aren't that loud on the device. I mean, they're okay, but they're not as loud as my Touch Pro 2 used to be. And of course, these are not front stereo speakers like some reviews say. The buttons are a bit tough to press, as I said before, but a case helps. The in-call volume is kind of low to hear through the speaker, or through the earpiece. Like if you're in a busy mall, you'll have trouble hearing someone, sadly. And the phone's antenna is actually in the bottom left here, just like the iPhone. So if you hold it at the bottom left, your signal will drop sometimes. Like it just dropped to edge there. But it doesn't actually drop the signal completely like the iPhone would. So that's a relief. And you can't send video text messages, MMS, to your friends, or voice messages to your friends' phones. You can only send those through... Well, actually, you can't even send videos through email yet. And I don't think you can even send voice messages through email. So those are places where it's lacking and needs to improve. And battery life is so-so. I can make it through a day maybe if I'm lucky on the phone, but I do a lot of email and visiting websites and replying to forums. And there's no way to upload your office documents. You just have to email them to people. Can't upload them to SkyDrive or anything. And that is everything for this review, and check out the next review which goes over the positives of Windows Phone 7. Thank you for watching.